Hello and welcome to yet another edition of DBE TV News. We thank you for watching every week. You can find this bulletin on Fridays at 12 p.m. on the DBE TV channel 122 if you have an OpenView decoder, or Bricks TV channel 509 at 4:30 in the afternoon if you are a StarSat subscriber. Otherwise, catch it on YouTube. Please remember to share the link with your friends, family and anyone in your circles. Welcome. My name is Tshegohatso Moagi. Here are some of the top stories in the bulletin this week. The Presidential Youth Employment Initiative is well underway. We find out how far is this process and what is the next step for these young people who have been appointed as either general assistants or education assistants. The South African Human Rights Commission wants the rotational timetabling in schools to be stopped immediately. We get a response from the Department of Basic Education on this matter. The Basic Education Department is determined to curb bullying in school. Find out how a principal in KZN ensures bullying in school is kept at a minimum. Saki Sizwe Secondary School in Msinga started teaching learners in a church nearby. The principal and visionary of the school gives us all the details. Remember to get in touch with us by using our social media platforms on Twitter at DBE_SA and at DBE TV News, Facebook DBE SA, Instagram DBE SA. You can use the hashtag DBE News. The second phase of the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative is well underway. Youth between the ages of 18 and 35 who are currently neither in education or training, nor receiving any form of government grant, as well as young people with disability and women, were eligible to apply for the initiative. 287,000 young unemployed people have now been placed and afforded employment and training opportunities in the education sector. This initiative forms part of the presidential employment stimulus seeking to mitigate the devastating economic challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic.
We have placed the young people in our schools. Schools were busy contracting in the past week. When we say contracting, we mean that young people were signing contracts because they have gone through the interviews and they were told who is successful. And now they are in our schools to start with employment. And what the schools are doing also is to ensure that the young person is signing the job descriptions that are telling them what are they going to be participating in on daily basis. And they are also allocated mentors. Mentors are teachers who are responsible for specific learning areas when it's in high school, and in the lower grades, the GET phase, the young people are assigned to classes in grades. So it means a young person might be responsible for grade 1B as an example. So they would be sitting with the teacher in the classroom.
Officials from the department have been monitoring the placement of these young people, and schools have come up with initiatives to ensure everything runs smoothly and the youth also gain leadership skills.
The other things that we see schools initiating is to ensure that the young person is also knowing who is the team leader. They're allocating team leaders amongst themselves, and they are going to be rotating on the role of team leader. This is just to ensure that our young people are also developing in terms of leadership skills as they are participating in this initiative. What we can tell our country is that we are about 90% finished with interviews and placement. We still have schools that are doing mopping up, hence that 10%. What would they be doing? In terms of mopping up is those schools that might have received applications that are of youth that are not residing around the community that the school is serving. In that case, we have issued concessions and that school would be allowed to can do interviews of young people that are staying around the location.
The department will now be looking into the performance of those placed in schools and for them to be trained on a number of issues.
We will look into performance of our youth. We'll also be looking at ensuring that our schools are going to talk to the young person, just to look into the changing the mindset that the young person must see this opportunity as a rare opportunity, as an opportunity that is going to give them valuable experience that they require, and that when they are in our schools, they are able to look into every little opportunity that comes their way, especially the training that we want to offer to the young person.
The Basic Education Department says rotational learning has led to many children not returning to school at all, even when they need to be in class. Other means of learning had to be considered, such as learning online when the COVID-19 pandemic hit the world. The traditional way of teaching and learning had to come to an end in order to prevent the spread of the virus and to ensure there is social distancing at schools. Now, the department says if children between 7 and 14 are not attending school, there are ways the community can assist.
The South African Schools Act insists that children of school-going age must be at school. We're talking about children of age 7 until age 14. Those do not have a choice, they need to be at school. So if you are a member of a community, you are a parent, and you realize that there are children that are not at school, they are not homeschooling, and they are not doing anything around school, you have the right to report to the nearest school, talk to the principal, the nearest district, the provincial office, the national office, and all these offices has toll-free numbers that you can dial and report such instances so that we keep our children at school. I know we've got policies on learner attendance, which then prescribes what schools need to do in case children begin to disappear from the school and how they need to follow up and all that. We expect every child of school-going age to be at school from the beginning of the year until the end of the year. And it is the responsibility of all of us as adults to ensure that that happens as it is.
Stay tuned. After the break, we find out how a principal in the notorious Chatsworth area in KZN deals with bullying at his school. Welcome back. Bullying in schools has been a concern for the Basic Education Department for a while now. And to deal with the problem, the department has initiated anti-bullying campaigns. This initiative, led by Deputy Minister Dr. Regina Mahaule, sees government departments, including social development, justice and communications, join hands to curb bullying in schools. DBE TV News caught up with this year's Lifetime Achievement winner in the National Teaching Awards to find out how he deals with bullying at his school in Chatsworth in KwaZulu-Natal.
As a principal of my school, I have been able to take care of the phenomenon of bullying. First of all, one needs to understand the difference between bullying and also misbehavior of children. And sometimes when one is not able to distinguish between this fine line, when one is actually being bullied, a principal or an educator may feel that it's just misdemeanor, but it could be deep-lying form of bullying. Therefore, I feel that educators must be empowered on the concept of bullying. They need to understand. They need to identify the symptoms of bullying. And once they are able to identify the symptoms of bullying, then this can be addressed by providing remediation in terms of counseling at a very early stage, at the root stages. But if it is ignored, we'll find that these minor type of bullying becomes aggressive behavior and sometimes dangerous as the children grow up later in school.
As education is a societal matter, Dr. Budal believes when dealing with issues such as bullying, everyone needs to be involved.
And I'm also of the opinion that the behavior that you learn at home is the behavior you display at school. Therefore, when one has to address the concept of bullying, there needs to be a multidisciplinary approach where you get parents involved, educators involved, the schools involved, the church groups involved, and all of them must sing or talk from the same hymn page in terms of making learners aware of the bad effects of bullying. Because when bullying goes undetected, the victim sometimes becomes so depressed, and we've seen cases where the only way to deal with that high level of threat and trauma is to commit suicide sometimes. I'm also of the opinion that the training colleges, teacher education colleges, should include the concept of bullying in their courses, especially in the core subjects like educational psychology. Because I feel that educational psychology is being neglected in some of our tertiary institutions. And, concepts such as bullying and things like that need to be part of the educational psychology program. So once educators are empowered, then you'll find that we'll be able to deal with this effectively in the schools.
He says although a multi-sector involvement is needed to deal with bullying, there are other measures schools can put in place to deal with any form of violence.
The school needs to have a proper code of conduct to deal with bullying. And my opinion of bullying is that when you are disciplining a child who's caught for bullying, the measures or the sanctions should be corrective rather than punitive. When it is corrective, you change the child's behavior. And myself being an educational psychologist, I use the concept of CBT. CBT is cognitive behavior therapy. When you change the thinking, you change the behavior. So I'm fortunate in the sense that I am skilled in the field as an educational psychologist, and being a principal, I'm able to handle bullying at my school very efficiently. But I just hope other school principals also, you don't have to become a psychologist, but you need to read, you need to listen to some of the advancements in terms of how you eliminate bullying. And one of the things is, like, I'm a behaviorist as well, and I believe in conditioning. where you reward a child for good behavior and you give him some type of punitive or corrective measure for the bad behavior. And then you'll see when children are rewarded every time a bully does something, an identified bully, if you find that he's done something good, you tell him, my boy, you have done something good today. He feels proud, his self-esteem is high. He will want to work for more rewards, and you'll see he becomes conditioned to displaying good type of behaviors.
To this now, Deputy Minister Dr. Regina Mahaule has handed over the newly rebuilt Sunshine Special School to the Youth-in-Age community in the Eastern Cape Province. She was joined by the Provincial MEC Fundile Gate and HOD Dr. Naledi Mbude. This handover is part of the broader program of the Eastern Cape Education MEC to officially hand over 10 mega schools across the province.
In 2019, we hosted a roundtable resourcing of schools for learners with special education needs. The technology and telecommunication companies supported our plans to meet our information and communication technology rollout obligation and increase the pace of provision of ICTs to all schools of learners with special education needs. Today, as the government, we are here to restore hope and dignity of our learners with special educational needs as part of our 11 priorities that require us to hasten the speed to bring this cohort of learners into the mainstream.
Mahaule says the school will restore the hope and dignity of learners and teachers.
It is for us who must adapt our understanding and common humanity, learn the richness of how human life is diverse, and recognize the presence of disability in our human midst and as an enrichment of our diversity. Our job as the Department of Basic Education is to provide the ability to overcome disability. The Constitution enjoins us to provide basic education for all, irrespective of varying levels of disabilities or abilities, race, color, religion, gender, sexual orientation, age, national origin, or any other form. Put differently, learners with special education needs are entitled equally to educational facilities that meet and, if not, exceed the set minimum uniform norms and standards for public school infrastructure.
Stay tuned. After the break, we speak to Principal Phumlani Mhlongo from one of the smallest schools the department has.
By training an artisan, we are not just producing a worker, but we are also possibly producing an entrepreneur. This center that we've been launching here at the Sekhukhune Skills Development Center is being built by the wholesale and retail sector, whose aim really is to provide opportunities for skills development for unemployed youth in the area, as well as for youth in TVET colleges. And that is very important because it's in line with our commitment to actually produce 30,000 artisans per annum by 2030. This center is being built to provide training in areas that relate to the economy of this area. The three main critical pillars of the economy in this part of Sekhukhune is mining, it's agriculture, and tourism. There's also going to be certificates that are going to be given, studied and acquired on animal production, on poultry production, as well as other related agricultural skills. And we are also going to be building an access road into the center, which also is going to create jobs. We are going to be training about 45 informal traders. It's going to create about 262 local jobs, and about 12 small medium enterprises are participating in the construction of the sector. So we are saying to young people, grab these opportunities, because that is likely to significantly change your lives.
Welcome back. Saki Sizwe Secondary School in KwaZulu-Natal started off in a church hall. The founding principal, Phumlani Mhlongo, says there are many reasons why he, together with other teachers, decided to build his community by starting this school. Although a small school with only 7 teachers and 10 matric learners, Mhlongo is pleased with the quality of results from the school. Our reporter, Robinson Ngola, has the story.
Principal Phumlani Mhlongo has been in the education sector for some time, and he had a vision to start a high school in the Pomeroy area in Msinga in KwaZulu-Natal.
Ngifike la kule ndawo ngo-2001 ngoJune 4 ngi-HOD eGayisan Primary, i-primary eseduze kwalesi sikole sakhiwe. Inhloso yami yokuza ngaba nenhlanhla ukuthi ngiqashwe khona. Inhloso yami yokuza ngapha vele ngoba bengifundisa ebunye bethu, ngifundisa izingane zala, ngibona ukuthi ziyafa i-distance. Mase ngifike eGayisan ngihlale nje iminyaka emithathu, 2002, 2003, 2004 ngase ngiubasela lo mlilo e-high school ukuthi izingane ziyahlupheka. Let's try sizama ukuthi sifake ugrade 8 eGayisan. Nokho ke nothisha omkhulu wayekhona leso sikhathi uHatebe savumelana.
He has emphasized the importance of good partnership between churches, the community and schools.
Safunda ke esontweni nezingane ezazi u65 ugrade 8 inamba yazo. Ngesikhathi ngibiza umhloli ubaba Ntombelo okwakuyena umhloli ngaleso sikhathi ezo-check ebona wabona ukuthi I know we can just proceed la siqhubeke ne-high school mangabe sikwazi ukuqala ngo-65 wengane. Yebo-ke sahlala-ke esontweni. Hhayi umshikashika-ke emva kwalokho. Dingeka ukuthi ngibize umphakathi njengoba kusehlathini kunje sigawula iy'ngodo kanti sizokwakha isikole sodala.
Mhlongo says the school has grown from strength to strength with each passing year, and more learners are starting to attend. The municipality and the department assisted with a fence and more classrooms so that learning and teaching could continue safely and comfortably. In 2019, the school had an 85.7% pass rate, while they attained an impressive 100% pass rate in the previous year. To top it all off, the matric class of 2020 received an 80% in mathematics despite not having a maths teacher.
Uyaveza i-PPN yethu ukuthi ngenxa ye-drop yey'ngane sekufanele sibe u7. So u7-ke njengamanje othisha kodwa without uthisha we-mathematics ngoba wacela i-transfer waya kwesinye isikole besisalo silindile ukuthi sizosizakala. Kodwa-ke nokho noma kunjalo sizama ngawo wonke amandla ukuthi iy'ngane ayiphumelele. Siyabacela othisha from other schools, neighboring schools bezosisiza in mathematics. There is another teacher osebenza e-university in Johannesburg okuthiwa ubaba uSibiya, siyambiza eze naye afika sisize. Basiza-ke njenge nabanye, hhayi ngoba sihleli ifundiwe yona i-maths noma ingafundiwe phela ngale ndlela ukuthi kukhona uthisha eklasini, kodwa siyenzile ama-efforts ukuthi at least iy'ngane-ke ziyiphase i-maths. Asazi-ke kuzokwenzakala kanjani. Nakiwo-ke lo nyaka i-targeted beku-100. Sesizoba nalesi siphazamiso esincane se-mathematics, but we are working very hard. Asifisi impela nje ukuthi sibe ngaphansi ka-T65.
The school is in rural KZN located on the mountains. This has a negative impact on enrollment of children into the school and an increase in the rate of dropout as learners must walk long distances to get to school.
Izingane-ke zihamba ama-long distances. Ezinye unfortunately ngisho eduze kwasemakhaya yikho imigwaqo ngoba bakhe entabeni. Siney'ngane nje ey'cishe ey'hamba up to 14-12 kilometers ukusuka emakubo zize esikoleni. Lokho kwenza ukuthi kwesinye isikhathi ezinye y'gcine ingasafuni ukuze esikoleni seyiphuma i-drop out zigcine nje zizulazula la emgwaqeni. Kodwa yona indawo nesikole isakhiwe isakhele department asikhali ngalutho ngesikole ngeke ke senze lutho ngendawo ngoba inhloso yethu kusondela size kule ndawo kwakuyingenxa ukuthi siyababona vele bahamba ama long distances beya ke kuma neighboring schools, so at least la kungcono.
Mhlongo says it's concerning when a learner does not arrive at school, and due to this, he goes to their home and find out why. He says he and other teachers regularly have to search and find learners from their homes and elsewhere to take them back to school themselves. He says this community cannot afford to see a learner dropping out of school no matter the reason. Mhlongo has also told the DBE TV News that if a teacher sees one of the learners roaming the streets, they bring the child to school to learn.
Sibalanda straight emakhaya. Kwesinye isikhathi bafuka bengafike efake na uniform. Mhlawumbe kade ethi Pomeroy ngithatha khona esitopini. Sizana yena. Uzothi mawusuqeda ukufunda sizokugibelisa thina. Sikubeke la yakhona. Wenze leyo nto ke ntambama ubuyeke. Into esibekezela la amapasi. Abe usha amapasi. That's right. Lo ukugula mayigula reported, that's good. Hayi. Otherwise asikumukeli futhi njengoba ngisho nje sikwenza impela kuphuma ngaphakathi siufundile umphakathi siyawubona ukuthi uyinhlobo enjani so udinga isandla sethu kakhulu uyasupporta ngoba noma ungafika khona lapho umlande ekhaya uma wakhe uphume ndiza naye hayi angithisha usefikile hambe esikoleni.
Usually, the Basic Education Department closes such schools, but Saki Sizwe Secondary has to be kept going because there's a great need for it in the area. And surely, with such great story, more should be done to assist and grow the school. Robinson Ngola, reporting for DBE TV News in KwaZulu-Natal.
And so, that's how we end this week's news roundup on Channel 122 on OpenView, on YouTube, and of course on BRICS TV, Channel 509 StarSat. Until next time, it's goodbye from myself, Tsegohatjo Moagi, and the entire team. Thank you for watching.